Get out of here. All right, settle down, settle down. Let's talk about history. I know what you're thinking. Big dusty books, dates you have to memorize for a test, kings with weird beards. So serious, right? It's like you hear history lesson and you just want to curl up and take a nap. You picture your teacher, Mr. Henderson, droning on about the Magna Carta while you're just trying to figure out what's for lunch. It's got a reputation for being, let's be honest, a little bit boring. Thank you. I'm glad we can all agree on that. But here's the thing. What if I told you history isn't just serious people doing serious things? What if it's also people making ridiculous mistakes? Epic fails that are just too funny not to share. These are real stories. I'm not making this up. History is full of moments so weird, so out there you'd think they were written for a late-night comedy sketch. It's like the universe had a camera rolling and caught humanity in its most awkward moments. Moments that make you go, wait, that actually happened? Get out of here. Think of history as a giant blooper reel. For every big dramatic moment, a dozen little slip-ups. A general tripping over his own feet before a big battle. A queen with a really weird pet. A whole town that just started dancing and couldn't stop. They don't always put this in textbooks. It's too silly. But that's the good stuff. It makes people from long ago feel a little more like us. They weren't perfect. Just regular folks doing really dumb things. And that, my friends, is comedy gold. So let's do this. Put on our history goggles, they're just regular glasses but more fun, and dive into the best stories from the past. Get ready. History is about to get a whole lot funnier. Okay, first up, picture this. Australia, 1932. The country has a problem, a big feathery problem. I'm talking about emus. Yes, the giant birds that look like confused, overgrown chickens. There were about 20,000 of them, and they were running wild, eating all the crops. The farmers were like, "Help us, these birds are a menace." So what does the Australian government do? They declare war on the emus. I'm not kidding. They literally sent soldiers with machine guns to fight a bunch of birds. This is real, you can look it up. The Great Emu War. It sounds like a cartoon, right? So the soldiers show up all tough with their big guns. They're probably thinking, this is gonna be easy. We're trained soldiers, they're birds. Oh, how wrong they were. These emus were like feathered ninjas. The soldiers would get ready to fire, and the emus would just scatter in all directions. They were too fast. The birds would split into small groups and run, making them impossible targets. The machine guns would jam. The soldiers were getting outsmarted by birds. You can just imagine the commanding officer yelling, "They're flanking us! Retreat, retreat, it's just incredible!" The whole operation was a total disaster. After about a month of this, the military had used up thousands of rounds of ammunition and had only managed to take down a handful of emus. The media started making fun of them. Editorials were like, "Are we losing a war to birds?" The soldiers were probably so embarrassed. They went in expecting a quick victory and ended up getting clowned on by a flock of emus. In the end, the military just gave up. The emus won. That's right, the final score was EMUS 1, Australian Army 0. The birds just went back to eating crops, probably high-fiving each other with their wings. It's one of the funniest military failures in all of history. It just goes to show you, never underestimate your opponent, especially if they have long legs and a talent for zigzagging. All right, let's bring it back to America. We've had some great presidents. Lincoln Washington, you know the names. And then there's Jimmy Carter, a good guy, a peanut farmer, a president. And one day in 1979, he had a very strange encounter. He was on a fishing trip in his hometown in Georgia, just chilling in a canoe. Suddenly, he sees something swimming towards his boat. It's a rabbit. But this wasn't just any rabbit. According to President Carter, this was a killer rabbit. I can't make this stuff up. The President of the United States versus a killer bunny. So this rabbit is apparently swimming with great determination right towards his boat, hissing, gnashing its teeth clearly in attack mode. What do you do in that situation? You're the leader of the free world. You can't show weakness. So President Carter did what anyone would do. He started splashing at it with his paddle. He's in a canoe, fending off a swimming rabbit with a paddle. It's like a scene from a Monty Python movie, but it happened, in real life, to a sitting US president. I just love thinking about the Secret Service agents on the shore, watching this go down and wondering if this is what they signed up for. The story gets even funnier. His staff didn't believe him at first. They probably thought he'd spent a little too much time in the sun, but the president insisted. No, you don't understand, this rabbit was coming for me. The press eventually got wind of the story, and it became a huge joke. They called it the killer rabbit attack. The Washington Post ran a cartoon with the headline Paws, parodying the movie Jaws. It made the president look a little silly, which was not great for his image. He was trying to deal with an energy crisis, and people were asking him about a swimming rabbit. The White House photographer actually caught a picture of it, but they were hesitant to release it. They thought it would make the president look weak. But eventually, they did, and there it is. A photo of a rabbit swimming in the water. Does it look like a killer? Well, maybe. It looks a little wet and angry. To this day, it's one of the strangest things to ever happen to a president. Okay, this next one is wild. We're going back to 1518 in a town called Strasbourg, which is now in France. One day, a woman named Frau Trophea walks out into the street and just starts dancing. Not like happy dancing. I mean, she's dancing like she can't stop. She doesn't talk, she doesn't rest, she just keeps on dancing. For days. People are probably like, okay, Frau Trophea, we get it, you've got moves. You can stop now. But she couldn't. It was like she was stuck in the world's longest, most exhausting flash mob. And here's where it gets truly crazy. Other people started joining in. Within a week, there were over 30 people dancing in the streets with her. They couldn't stop either. The town leaders got together, and they were completely confused. They didn't have modern medicine, so they came up with the best explanation they could: hot blood. So what did they do? They built a stage. They hired musicians. They turned it into a full-blown dance party. They thought if they just let them dance 24/7, they'd get tired and stop. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. It just made more people join in. At its peak, there were about 400 people dancing uncontrollably in the streets of Strasbourg. This went on for about a month. It was a literal dance marathon, but without any prizes or fun. People were dancing until they collapsed from exhaustion. Some people even died from heart attacks or strokes. It was a tragedy, but also just one of the most bizarre events in human history. Can you imagine living there? You're just trying to go to the market to buy some bread, and you have to navigate through hundreds of people doing the Charleston against their will. Eventually, the dancing just stopped. It faded away as mysteriously as it began. To this day, no one is 100% sure what caused it. Some historians think it was a case of mass hysteria. Now that's a dance-off for the ages. So there you have it. A war against birds, a presidential rabbit fight, and a dance party that got way out of hand. See? I told you history wasn't boring. These stories are awesome because they show the human side of the past. It wasn't all just kings and queens sitting on thrones and looking serious for portraits. It was also about real people, making real and sometimes really funny mistakes. It's like finding out your super serious grandfather once tried to teach a squirrel to water ski. It just makes them more relatable, more human. Learning about these moments makes history feel alive. It's not just a collection of facts. It's a collection of incredible, weird, and hilarious stories. And laughing is a great way to remember things. You're probably never going to forget the story of the killer rabbit, right? It's way more memorable than memorizing the exact date of some obscure treaty. That's the magic of it. Humor is like the secret ingredient that makes history exciting. Now that's what I'm talking about.